Hi there, Malcolm here with my 54th Booktube video. My long absence is at an end. We have moved successfully, finally, eventually, and more importantly, all the books are now unpacked and accessible. Hooray! And we're now in the process of decorating, amongst other things. Enough of my boring life. I came here to find out about books, so books it is. Due to the craziness of the past several weeks, filming has not happened. So gone to the wayside is the December wrap-up video. Lost to the ether is the January TBR pile. Despite the planning and the anticipation, the top and bottom 10 books of the year, as well as my book of the month review for January, never happened. Or rather, they all did, but in blog form. So if you want to see those, they're all in the links down below. Go check them out and imagine me talking to you like this. Okay, as the title of this video suggests, this will be a quick wrap up of December and January, a time which is largely spent at my parents' house, where I pretty much went through my dad's entire collection of his Bo Peep books. I think we went through books 13 through 19. I've not got them with me, I've talked about them before, they're all pretty much the same sort of thing. Buy them if you see them, good fun. Moving on. The first book in December I finished was Book 2 of the Johnny Maxwell series, Johnny and the Dead by Terry Pratchett. I was reading this to my younger son. A graveyard is to be repurposed. The dead people living in there don't think much of that, and Johnny Maxwell steps in to save the day. Insightful in the human psyche, as always with Terry Pratchett. Very funny. My son absolutely loved this one, and I'm currently reading him the next book. Mind you, that's spoilers for the next video. Booktastic. Next up was December's book of the month, Aurora Rising by Alistair Reynolds. This is book 1 of the Prefect Dreyfus series, and it's interesting to note that this edition has his name misspelt on the front cover. Anyway, I did film a review for that, the last video I did. I'll leave a link to that down below, so go check that out to see what I thought of this. Next up, I finished reading The Curse of Salamander Street by G.P. Taylor. This is book 2 of his Shadowmancer series and loosely ties into the Wormwood series. This is historical fiction set in London. I think I'd left too long between reading the first bit and reading the last bit. I did find it hard to care about the characters. The story and all was okay. I'd say it's worth reading. Next up, I finally finished book 2 of Star Wars a long time ago. This one's titled Dark Encounters. And this is the collected comics of the original run of Marvel, back after the original film came out. A little bit dated now. Many of the scenes and characters and plots don't fit in with the established lore of the original films. Good fun otherwise. It was just a weighty tome and took me a long time to get through. Worth reading. From one comic to the next, I then read book 8 of The Walking Dead, Made to Suffer. For fans of the TV show, this is the governor's assault upon the prison. In the TV show, that was quite epic, but doesn't hold anything to this book. This was one of the most exciting graphic novels I've ever read. Call it a page turner would be a bit of a unoriginal thing to say, but this really was really exciting. So many named characters died, full of all the things that make this series a good series, or even a great series. Booktastic. And the final book I finished in December was Star Wars Man with a Mission, which follows Boba Fett on 4 assignments, each one just proving how much of a badass he is. Beautifully drawn, with exciting action, and they really show how much of a complex character he really is. I know I may be biased because it's Boba Fett, but this was booktastic. That was December. On to January. I managed 11 books in January, 8 of which were Bo Peep, so here are the 3 that weren't. First up was my book of the month, Awakened, by James S. Murray with Darren Wearmouth. I've written quite a lengthy review on Goodreads, which will be repeated on my blog for January when I upload it. I'll let you guys go and check that out to find out what I thought of this. Then I finished reading The Mammoth Book of Apocalyptic SF. This is a collection of short stories, all dealing with the end of the world, the events that cause it, what happens during it, and sometimes the events of afterwards. I found it a bit hit and miss with themed short story collections. Not with this one. This was brilliant. Even the worst of the bunch was pretty readable, but some really strong ideas. And okay, the theme may have been a bit depressing, but that's what you get when you pick up a book with that title on it. Highly recommend it. Booktastic. And finally I read Star Wars The Clone Wars Wild Space by Karen Miller. This is a tie-in novel to the animated feature-length film and supposedly leading into the TV series. The front cover here shows a bunch of clone troopers ready to do battle, with a highly identifiable clone trooper in the front with blue markings around his visor. But ignore all of that because nothing like that happens in the book. The book is purely a character piece between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Bail Organa, as together they face, in an odd couple sort of situation, greater and greater odds against them. I'm not downplaying this, but this isn't the epic space battle opera type woohoo, fighty. This is much more low-key and far cleverer than the front cover led me to believe. It also starts off with a really good piece immediately following the events of Geonosis, the battle in the arena, and all that. You know, the fallout from that. Really, really well done. Booktastic. So there you go, there's a quick run through of the books I read in December and January. I hope you enjoyed that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on any of those books. Have you read them? Are you interested in reading them? Please let me know in the comments below. But as always, if you have nothing nice to say, then please keep them to yourself. Thank you. Alternatively, if you've read some books that you'd like to share with me, then please leave a link or list in the comment section down below and I'll be sure to check those out. Until next time, see you later.